Um, Yum 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 yum. Hello, hello, Alex. Hello. Oh my God. Hello. One sec. Let me take my sweater off because it's fucking hot in my room. Actually, yeah, I'll take my sweater off. Jesus. All right, I'm good. Hi, chat. What's up, Cold Drip? What's up, Bebo? What's up, Rowan? What's up, guys? What's up, Antlo? Orbra? Hello. Mish, what's up? Sailor, what's up? Sally, what's up? Dude, I always think it's Sally, but it's actually Sail. It's in a sail, isn't it? Anyways, all right. What's up, chat? What's up? What's up, chat? Let me. What's my title, by the way? Did I put Civ or solos? I'm doing solos first. Oh wait, fuck. I meant to put Civ later, not solos later. Civ later. There you go. All right, let's go to Matzo. Noti. Damn. Okay. Okay. What's up, chat? It's good, chat. What's up, chat? All right, let's play. Yeah, let's actually get a win today. That stream yesterday was, or that stream, yeah, yesterday was garbage. Let's not do that. Let's not do that today. Let's actually like low-key lock in. Let's lock in. Meow, 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 meow. Yes, yes, yes. There we go. Let's lock in. What's up, Spectre? How are you, Spectre? Hi, chat. Hello, chat. Hi, everyone. What's up, everyone? Qndres, want to let you know, even though we haven't known each other for long, your shit made me... Yes, I am ready for the new season. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Bebo. WWW. What's up, Mako? What's good, bro? Hi, Queen. Hi, Queen. What's up, guys? Hi, Forlick, by the way. How are you, Forlick? Chat, we're gonna win this game, all right? I'm locked in. I'm locked in, and I want to win the game. I want to win today. Everyone's dying today to me. All right. I haven't played since yesterday, and actually no, I played earlier. No, I played yesterday night actually. Played a boost for it and someone else, but yeah, I'm locked in right now. I'm locked in. What's up, Layla? How are you, Layla? Hello. Also, yeah, it's a little weird time zone to stream, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm streaming regular time when everyone streams, so I mean, you know, I'm gonna see a little bit of a difference, but it's all good. It's all good. I think everyone starts streaming around now, so, or I think like in either now or in 3 hours. So yeah, but hey, chat, it is what it is. We're starting the stream though. I'm supposed to be asleep right now, but on the other hand, I'm streaming. Wait, W. Wait, don't sleep. Watch my stream. W. It's 12 a.m., but it's all good. Bet. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you see what I mean? I do have a EU like viewer base. It's crazy. What's up, GB? Noob? Squeak. I don't know why you're talking, buddy. You're like a 1.8 bane, buddy. Stay over there. You're a drop, buddy. You're a drop. We can play a game together soon or next season. Maybe next season, bro. Maybe next season. We'll see. Next season, chat. Have you guys seen the screenshots of the actual ultimates that are coming next season? They look fire, bro. They look fire. We'll see what it is, though. We'll see what it is. It's 6 p.m. and pitch black outside. I love winter. I hate this. I hate it. Because what if I want to do something like at 6 p.m.? Usually, you know, lights are out at 6. Nah. Not right now. Lights are like pitch black. You can't see anything. Wager? I'm not wagering you, bro. In 1.8, bro. Squeaky, you're all about the wagering, bro. You're probably bad, bro. Let's be honest. 60. Anyone that's good at this game? I don't see anyone. I think Joe's pretty good. Yeah, okay, sweet. We all know you've been playing secretly, buddy. What's up, Kai? How are you, Kai? Hey, Kai. My Christmas lights set up? Dude, I need to set up my Christmas lights. I want to buy a tree for my room, but my room's too small to even have a tree in it. So, G freaking G. What's up, Sailor? Hello. It's been a minute. What's up, bro? What's up, Mako? What is up? What is up? All right, we'll see. I just hate this fog. Water. Oh, lava. Ooh, 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 ooh. Perfect, 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 perfect. Now, I wonder. No, I'm just gonna go for this right here. I think. I'll go. Oh, here. Perfect, 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 perfect. All right. It should be like a good rush. Hopefully we can go another ASAP. All right. Dude, I swear I haven't like I have another rush in like days. Actually, another rush yesterday. What am I saying? Oh, there's water actually down here. Is there any iron? Yeah, right here. Yesterday I was playing with Squid. Bro's actually a demon, bro. He actually like knows the strats. It's fun. It's fun to play with like people that know strats. I don't even have iron for a bucket yet. Okay. Just gotta get the water bucket up here. If I can find it again. It's up here. Gravel. Gravel usually like around this area. There's diamonds right there. If I can find any. Yeah, 2 foot. Oh, that's actually not too bad, right? 2 foot. 2 feet tall. 2 foot tall. Am I dumb? Do I not see gravel anywhere? Gravel right there. It's like not enough lava though. All right, got the flint. Okay, I just need lava now. Lava, lava, lava. Good try, bozo. There should be lava down here. Nope. Debated. Oh, I'm already too late. Maybe I can find it over here. Thanks to follow. Sadie? Kaide? Hello. Thank you for the follow. Bro. Where the fuck is the lava at? How are you? Hello. Hi. I'll post a picture, bet. Oh my god, bro. Surely there's lava down here, right? Oh, there's fucking diamonds here? Like... It's fine. We'll be a little late. More diamonds. Hi, Hobo. Hey, Hobo. Have a good stream, Goat. Thank you, Goat. It takes a goat to know a goat. Wait. Damn. Little Nate Nether, but it's fine. Are you good at this game? I'm decent. I'm not like above average. Bastion. Where's the Bastion at though? It's gonna be like across me, isn't it? Oh, Bastion right there. Hi, Plish. Hello. How are you, Plish? Hello, hello, hello. I need to start tweeting out that I'm live. I stopped doing that for like, about the time. I need to start tweeting it out again though. Someone's already here. Yeah, like look at that, bruh. Like someone's looting everything. Jesus. Like I don't know. I don't understand how to get another faster. Someone died though. He died pretty close. This guy probably got the stuff. Fuck. Did I just see an ancient debris?
I just want to know where the nether portal is.
What?
Over here. Just keep
Oh,
going
okay,
this way.
thank you. Why is there a Russian kid yelling what down his mic?
What? What? What?
Hey, buddy.
What?
Okay, never mind. Alright, I'm following you, bro. I trust you.
Hit your button. Oh,
Uh-oh,
shit.
uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. So what'd you guys get, huh? Don't die now.
I'm not. I'm trying to find the nether portal. I'm following you.
Oh, I don't know where it's at, man. Good luck. Oh, ancient debris.
You're terrible.
I'm terrible.
What's ancient debris gonna do for you?
Oh, trust me, I know what it can do for me. What it can do for you, though, is a question.
I'll give you a fire charge for saving.
Shut up. A fire charge. You want a fire aspect sword?
Alright, go on, give me it.
No, you first. The fuck? I ain't gonna get scammed.
Nobody. I'd put it in the chest. Same time.
Where is it? I'll chest that.
Go on.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, well, you didn't put it in. Oh, you did. Wait, 3, 2. Okay,
yes,
ready?
I did.
Okay,
nope,
ready? 3.
Nope, you lost your chance.
Damn, I lost my chance, huh? Well. Damn. It's fine to just drop you later, man. All right, bye.
Buddy. Alright, see you, buddy.
Don't call me buddy. Who are you? I don't know who you are. Oh, nice. Didn't get backup gold. W. Hi, Jocelyn. Hello, hello, Jocelyn. Fuck. They like low-key looted everything. I wonder if they got backup gold. Uh-oh. Come on, please get in there, please get in there, please get in there. Holy shit, dude. Just go in there. Please, thank you. They got back up. Fuck. Trying obby? I placed my obby that I needed. Nice. It's fine. Fire charge? Like, low-key, I could go back there and take what I need, but I lost my obby now, so I don't think it's worth it. Fuck. Wonder if they... Did these guys drop any? No way, I threw that. I can low-key take that. Oh, fuck. Alright, let me just try to get out, maybe? It's fine. My PvP skills will make up for it. I'm pretty good. How's your day been? Pretty good, actually. Pretty good. I ate some bomb Salvadorian food earlier. Yeah. What's up, Jocelyn? How are you, though? What's up, Django? What's up, bro? Also, my scroll wheel is really sensitive, so if I just tap it, it'll swap for some reason. I mean, because it's sensitive. I have diamonds. I have leather. I can make books. Okay, I'm chilling. Just gotta get out of this place now. I have crying lobby. Someone wants to make bots, go for it, by all means. What's up, Knight Rider? Hello. Man's addicted? I wouldn't say addicted. Wait, I need a... Oh, Chad, do you remember my portal cords? Lucky forgot them. Not gonna lie. Or do I just go 0-0? I might just go 0-0. Might just say fucking go 0-0 portal cords. Yeah, these guys are just spawn inside of it, so it was just RIP for me. I think they spawned inside of it at least. I don't know. Sad Sunshit, hello. How are you? How long would you be live for, you think ish? Don't know. I don't know. I low-key don't know. It could be a long stream. I don't know. Depends on my feeling. If I'm feeling like bored, I don't know. It could be like a quick stream, but if I'm having fun, in Civ, then it could be a long stream. It could be a long stream. I will lurk. Have a good stream. Thank you. Oh, that was Mercy by Kanye. Yep. Thank you, Layla. Appreciate it. So, oh, someone found. Oh, fuck. Yo, Tiki. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream, Tiki. I don't have any more iron. I just want to get more books so I can get enchants. Because I already have enchants basically in Diamond Storage Shop too. If I can just drop someone, that'd be great. I'm gonna try cobwebs today. I'm gonna try cobwebs. So remind me to get cobwebs, chat. Apparently they're broken, and I believe it because I always get trapped to cobwebs. Here, I'm gonna let this water down. Get that. I'll go down here. Someone already got those books for sure. If not, I'll go back and get them later. Yo, guarantee there's probably a thing here. What's it called? The ancient city down here. They always spawn next to snow biomes for some reason. It's just, I don't know. It's just always there. Oh, diamonds or gold, my bad. I need diamonds. Cool. Also, yeah, I mean, I'm chilling on everything. There's more gold up there. Go up here. I'll back in 3 minutes, bet. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll be here still. I'll be here. I will be here all day. Also, yeah, sorry for starting the stream a little late today. I know I was on that streak of morning streams, but I wanted to change it up a little bit because Thursday I will also be streaming like late at this time, like 3 or 4 probably this Thursday. There'll be streams where I stream like early in the morning, or there'll be streams where I stream like mad late. I don't know. It'll just, I don't know. It just all depends, really. Today was weird though because I just had family over. I didn't want to be playing Minecraft. Me sale preview. Cool. Yeah, variety of streams, yeah. But I will be live more often in the mornings though, like 100%. That's because I just love waking up early and just grinding, you know. Not gonna lie, I dislike creators that use drone to get clout. What? I'm confused. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean, Connor? What you mean by that? I don't know who that is. Is he my game? That's weird. Hi, Sunshit. How are you? Like I hear you talking another. Oh, I don't know who that is. Yo, 2XCL. What's up? I have Hoplite fever. W. We like to see that. We like to see that. I'm gonna be lurking. Okay, but wait, we love the Hoplite. Hold on one sec. Let me just lock in because I have like 10 seconds for PvP. All right. Isaac, hello. What's up, Blinks? Thanks for follow. There you go. What's up, Zach? What's up, bro? What's good? What's good? What's good? There's, bro, I need more diamonds. Ha. Huh. I'm over here saying I need more diamonds and I have plenty of diamonds, bruh. Headed for drinks. How are you? Dude, I was editing a thumbnail before this, and yeah. You're a Marvel fan? Yes. What's up, Dugan? What server is this? It's Badline. Badline UHC. You try it. I need water, and I can just go down and make enchants. Like, nice. I always forget. I make books now. Wait, W song. Yo, like what? Yo, like what? Hoplite, yes. Hoplit egg. Sure, we'll go with that. What's up, Fatal? Yo, this Fatal guy's been calling me short every stream I'm in, bruh. Bro, I'm not short, bruh. I don't know what world you're living in. I'm not short. 6 foot total. Just 6 foot. I'm 6 foot. Just cap all you want, but I'm 6 foot. It's lava that's someone placed up there. I'll go up right now. I just want to get Obby and I'll go up. A secret to love, I don't get it. Yo, why does everyone think I'm like short, bro? Do I give off short vibes? Holy iron. Yo, where was this cave at before? What? Also, chat, do I smelt that and get what do I get from that? Do we get a lot of stuff from that or no? A lot of iron is what I meant to say. You give off ass shot vibes. Okay, so what you're trying to tell me is I should do shots for losing. No, I will not be drunk on stream. I will not promote drinking on stream. That is just not me. Maybe in the future. But no, I don't even drink normal. Like, I just drink when I'm like at parties. What's up, Mr. Woo Woo, by the way? How are you, Mr. Lulu? Mr. Lulu? Mr. Woo Woo. Why is there a creeper zombie? Yo, yesterday, bro, why did the owner have a punching bag to the server? Yo, hello? Like, okay. Bro was trolling. I hope. I can't be asked to like look for another enchant. Yo, I've seen people get full prop 3, by the way. How? Like what? Sec, let me just lock in real quick. Are we fucked? What do you mean? What's up, Grenudos? How are you, Grenudos? What do you mean, are we fucked? This is still a winnable stream. Oh right, that's Civ though. That's when you're playing Civ. Christmas emotes? Yeah, it's. What do you mean? It's Christmas after Thanksgiving, right? What's the next holiday after Thanksgiving? Go on, tell me. It's Christmas. Fuck. I need to throw shit away. My inventory's clogged and I'm getting annoyed of it. I just wanna hear you. I can make power 2. I'll keep that. I need the crying up, but I don't need that anymore. Chat, you guys understand the amount of people I see just inventories clogged? It gets me so annoyed. When do you think Christmas season starts? Oh, right after Thanksgiving, I'm telling you. It's right after Thanksgiving where you can start putting up your Christmas lights, right? I mean, that's what we do. surely no one's putting up Christmas lights in December. Like December's like, if you start putting your Christmas lights up December 1st, that's already too late. Like you know, like you're already like missing the program. After Easter, okay, you're trolling now. Why my ex Astoria? Andres, when do you think? I literally said it. As soon as Thanksgiving ends, like the day after, so Black Friday, that's when Christmas starts, because Black Friday is supposed to be deals for Christmas. Yes or no? Yes or no? And then Christmas ends January 1st. Thoughts? Thoughts on that? Can I just drop someone? There's always been this. Okay. If I drop someone, can I get 1 prime? Can I get 1 Twitch prime so if I drop someone? Please. I want 1. Get your money up, not your funny up. True. There's someone here. Uh-oh, buddy. Give me that fire aspect sword. Only 11. I kill him here. Like, bro is higher than me. Why isn't he fighting me? I killed him. What the fuck? Bye. Holy shit. This guy's... Got them with a G-head. 10 gaps. Sharp 2. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. NPC. NPC movement. NPC movement. Bro is mad. Bro is definitely mad. I just killed top KT of the game. GG. GG. Okay. Uh-oh. What the? Wait, I can make... Wait. Yeah, I can just need one. I just need 1 head. Actually, no, I'll make G head first. And then make more healing. My inventory is clogged again. Fuck, why is my inventory clogged? Chow, I hate this. Why is it always like this? Need the pearl. Dude, I'm freaking out already. Okay, I'm tossing everything I don't need in here. Chad, did I drop that guy? I think I did. I can make it like a better sword too. Let me enchant my boots. Okay. Is that Zokul? Oh, bro. Like, you guys see what I mean by my inventory being like actually manageable? It's actually what's that bow? It's an unenchanted bow. All right. There was a guy on a horse. Where'd it go? Also, how many charges does it have? It has 2 charges, but what was I got the horse? He definitely like a power 4 or something. Let me also get that. What do you mean? What do you mean sheer force? What was what intended? Wait, what happened? What's happening? The guy right here. Thought that he's trapping? Could be trapping. We drop him. What is he on? Who is this? Surely he's trapping, right? Is he trapping or is he not trapping? Where'd it go? Wait, what? I just lost bro. Where'd it go? Why'd he run? I can't combine, if you're trying to tell me to combine diamond swords, I can't do that. Diamond sword with katana, I can't do that. It has to be a netherite sword. This guy's over here somewhere. Where is he? Why my dog start sitting down? What? Like what? My dogs are after this guy. Holy shit. Wherever he went. What? Why are they sitting down? Is he underground, chat? Did he dig down? Why are they leading me to a... Shit's all looted. What? Why are they leading me to the border? Wait, did he dig down? Anyone know this chat? Anyone know this? There's a glitch right now. You can't combine 2 sharp ones together. What the fuck? Wait, do admins already know about it? Or no? Oh, I see him. I see him. He's just that border for some reason. Okay, I don't... You fishing? What? 29. Oh no, what is he? What if he's TNT minecarting? Come on, bro. What? Confusion. Why is he running? Isn't he like... I guess he's more stacked, but he doesn't know that I have a katana though. Hello? Hey, dude. Hey, man. Want to fight me? Why'd you... Oh, he doesn't have sounds. Never mind. What? What? Why are we dueling fire? I have a fire sword already. I have a fire aspect katana. These fucking dogs are boosting me out of here. Chad, do I dash on him or nah? Should I just like TP on him? Low key? Twice? No? Alright. Yeah, he's too far, right? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum-bum. Let me just not use blocks. Good shot. No way, bro made a boat. Wait, no way, bro gets lucky and get to ocean. I want to chase this. I need that chest plate. No way. Like, okay, dude. He's gonna come back to 0-0. He's gonna try to clean me. Like, I already know how it goes. I already know how it goes. It's fine. I just need 2 heads and I get a scythe, so. He might have like a G head on him. Max. Yo, who was that guy that I dropped, bruh? Holy. My hands are cold, by the way. No way someone has a fucking TNT minecart. And then these damn dogs just like led me here. Like, what? Why did you run? Oh, let me get these cobwebs. I told myself I was gonna get cobwebs. I already have fire. I don't need fire. I do want a secondary though, so I'm just gonna. Yeah. What's up, Evan? What's up? Two other full diamonds? What? I can see the future. Oh shit! I ran out of hunger. Well, I literally have nothing. I need to kill the sheep. I think I can right click them. Chad, do I drop a full diamond? Only. Let's see. Wait, I just thought of a crazy idea. I wonder if this has been done. I got deathmatch in 3. Let's see. Someone definitely has a crossbow, bro. Fuck. I mean, what can I even do at this point? Everyone just ran for me. I dropped 2 of the stacked guys. There's no way someone's still stacked, right? The book's still here. I mean, I already have books. Just don't have any levels. You know what I'm gonna do? Fuck it. 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, I can still make my 4. I got so much time. Nothing to do. I'm enchanting. Should make a sharp 3. Okay, look at that. Sharp 1. Second try. I'll get the books now over here. Like 3 more levels. Okay, it's chill. It's chill. It's chill. It's chill. Let's just hope I don't get backstabbed by some random guy. You can't combine them though? Wait, what? Yeah, surely it's patched, right? Also, did they loot down here the gold down here? They did, okay. We'll see. Let me just test that out real quick. There's no way. That has to be like crazy bug. I can probably... When did it start happening? Did it start happening today? Ooh, 3. Okay. Patched. You're welcome, guys. You heard it here first. That thing got patched. Yeah, it probably got patched then. If it happened to you last night, I mean, someone definitely reported it. Yeah, because that shouldn't be happening. That's like actually low-key somewhat game-breaking. I probably should like low-key take the... Here, we'll just throw that away. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, chat, wish me luck. Andre's kill record incoming. Okay. Dude, Birdie, I dropped someone, by the way, early with 10 gaps and had no healing. And yeah, apparently there's like just stacked people at 0 at deathmatch. We'll see. Let's see if someone has... I want to get mid chest, low key. I'm gonna kill this guy over here. It's not even enough. Okay.
I think I have Qndres in my lobby though.
How do you know it's me?
I know your voice.
It's not me though. I'm not Andres.
Oh damn. Who is it then?
It's
Do I really need to pop a notch?
No.
Your keyboard is so loud, bro.
Is it actually? I'm so sorry.
It's alright.
Oh, you're on 40. Jesus.
Yeah, notch, bro. What do you think a notch does?
That doesn't give you strength.
Well, sharp 4 emerald sword does.
No, no, it doesn't. Wait, what?
Well, not strength, but like it does a lot of damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. By the way, there's a guy chasing you. I'm not sure if you want to turn on that guy instead of going for me because I have a lot of healing and it's not really worth going for me.
Exactly. I kind of like that healing.
Oh, you want the healing that I'm going to eat on you?
Well, you can't eat it if you're gonna get quick drops.
Oh, I just ate it on you though.
No, you didn't. You half ate it.
What? Okay. Apparently I'm a liar now. Okay.
Oh, damn. Never mind, you did. Bro, I'm actually getting bow spammed. Why'd you teleport?
Nice shot, man.
Thanks, man. What happened?
Okay. I'm gonna kill this guy over here. Oh my god. There's no this guy.
Turns out I forgot to deposit more emeralds into the sword, so now it's a bit stronger.
Chat, I'm cleaning this up by the way.
Don't third party this.
Oh, that guy's still high.
Alright, fire resistance.
Chase me, chase me.
You're seriously running into me.
He was an EG head. He was just coming. This Saxon needs to help me though. There we go.
Oh my god, I'm actually so annoyed at this bow spammer. Oh my god, nah, this bow spam is too annoying. I'm actually getting third partied so hard. Let me craft.
Like, what do I? Oh, this guy's annoying. Like, why is he going for me?
Can I even hurt you when you're in there? Oh, you can? I don't...
Guy's still healing, bro.
Bro, don't team on me. What is this?
Okay, Loki, I gotta help this other guy now. He has region 2s. I'm helping him bow this guy here that's like... Why is he bowing me? Bro, why are you bowing me? I'm trying to help you out over here.
My bad.
Jeez.
Bro, help me out now. In a non-teaming way. Well, good luck. You're a little bit low.
No way. Oh, fuck. GG's. I couldn't
Where
play any
are
other
you?
way. Bro got so excited, bro. Oh, fuck. I don't know what I could have done there. I low-key just like tried to get the other guy low, but then like he had more healing. They were just like saving, I guess. That's whatever. GG's, GG's, GG's. Oof, unlucky. I played that. I think I played that to like the max I can do, to be honest. I don't know what else I could have done. GG's, GG's, GG's. Okay. I just know that guy's not joining this lobby again. He probably got his win or something. I probably should have just targeted. I mean, I don't know who I could have targeted. Like, just the other guy had no. I don't know. I just didn't know who had healing or not. You know who threw those? 6-stash. Like, why would he run forever? He still had 2 heads at the end? Did he actually? Oh, shit. I mean, yeah, I had to, like, drop him somehow. And he just came in and cleaned. But okay, okay, okay. I am not playing this lobby. I just see an IGN I just don't want to play with anymore. There's just no way I'm playing that lobby. I'll play next lobby. Peace out, Evan. Adios. Damn. He had more gaps though. Wait, how do I know how much more healing he had? How many kills did he have? Can I not see who had more kills? Oh, he had 6 kills. I had 2 kills that whole game. Damn. Lobby started already? It's not started yet. Nick. I'll let Nick now. Damn, I low-key played that. Oh, dude. That actually just hurt, bro. Fuck. I don't know how else I could have played that. What, just... I'm telling you, if that 6-dash guy didn't run all of, like, the last 5 minutes of the deathmatch, like, why would he run? Like, what? I guess he killed a full diamond or something. He killed someone in deathmatch, but it's whatever. I'll play this name now. No, why is Brooking in this lobby? Brooking, dodge, Brooking. Oh my god. Yes, I'm in this game. Please dodge. Please. I left last queue because pawn clean. Dude, yes, is Juan, are you better than Juan Clean? Dude, I swear Juan Clean was like just crazy nuts of the game. In this, yes. No way, what? Oh, is he only good with shield? Is he like one of those players that's like only shield PvP? What's up, Laser Sword? Hello. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Is he only good? Pretty good about kill without shield. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Fuck. Hi, Sanum. Hey, Sanum. You know people dodge me, by the way, chat? Yo, Brooking, you know people actually dodge me, bro, out of anyone? No shot people are dodging me. There was a streamer, he was like, oh, hell no. I heard his. I was nicked yesterday. I was in Teams, and the guy was like, "Oh hell no! I hear Andres' voice. I'm dodging." Are you addicted to HOPLITE? Yep, I am addicted to HOPLITE. Indeed, I am indeed HOPLITE addicted. I wouldn't really consider it addiction. It is. It's addiction. What am I saying? Picked up the Fos Fire Strat. Hooter. Damn, okay. You can tim an axe and get sharp 4 fire? Wait, what? Okay, well. Time to start maining axes then. Wait, can you tim a Mjolnir or no? That's so sad. Hell no. I love it. Haven't tried. Imagine just a sharp 4 fire 2 Mjolnir. Like, what the fuck? I know. I probably should not have said that on stream. Fuck. Fuck. This is bad. All good. You have no viewers anyways. Honestly, true. No one's watching from HOPLITE, I'm pretty sure right now. Everyone is just I mean, I'm not really, this is like not my time to stream. I'm usually like heading out by now. Not even, I'm not even streaming at this time during my actual time zone. Calm down, it's just Qndres. Okay, I killed someone. I thought I died. Let's get it. Can we get a hint about the next vid? No, I can't. Because it just leaks it. I can't give out a hint, no. It's a manhunt though, and it's a banger. You'll see. I can't say what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a banger. They got all those chests already. Bro, like, why'd you come down here? Oh, my leg went to sleep. You finally recorded? Not yet. But I mean, I am. It's gonna be a banger though. It's gonna be a banger. I'm working on the thumbnail first before I record, because I want to have the thumbnail down. I have like 13 million ideas. Good one. Two golden apples, gunpowder. I mean, I can make Artemis. I don't think I've ever Artemis rushed. Why is this guy like stalking me? Oh, wait, no way this guy's actually stalking me, right? Okay. Okay, I guess. Okay. Stalking YouTubers. Very funny, buddy. Oh, he's dying. It seems to be like this guy's a Newbert. But was I trying? Yeah. Bro, I was getting so mad. It's whatever. What do you use to make your thumbnails? Photoshop. What's up, Ink Blossom? Yeah, I mean, people don't know, but that's actually bannable. It's actually bannable. I just need one clip. Too lazy to clip, though. I just, like, lost all my fucking health. Are you serious? I just want to go nether. And I can get out and hopefully spawn next to 0-0 or something. This could be an Artemis rush if I find Amethyst. If I find Amethyst, I'm just rushing Artemis. I don't care. Come on. Get in 5 hours? Jesus. What, for work or what? It's treasure. Wait, what is this? No chest, but there's. Oh, it's definitely fortress then. Is it fortress? What is it? Is it? It can't be Bastion. Why is there only? What? I'm confused. Is it fortress? It's fortress. Okay. Chat, should I rush Artemis if I find amethyst? I can't rush Artemis if I don't find amethyst. Oh, I think the war is cut off too. Low key. Low key, it actually might just be cut off. The wart room. Wait, here, zombie. Yeah, it's a cut off wart room. Rip. So I don't know where it could be. Okay. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. It was wart room, I guess, but bro just logged off. Okay. I'm chilling then. There's a blaze rose right there. There's still one he left here. Okay. And they mined that one too. Great. Did they? They definitely did not, actually. Don't fucking mine it. What? Server like? One more, please. Just give me one more. Don't mine it. Please don't mine it. No, no. Don't mine it. No. No, mine it. Don't mine it. No, please. Please.
What?
Don't mine it, bruh.
Why?
I'll mine it for you.
Right back. How many blue guys you got?
0. You?
4. I'm 5.
You want to give me like 3 of them?
Nah.
Why not?
Why do you need them?
For like freaking nothing. A bunch of nothing. Why?
Oh yeah. Just asking. Simple question.
Yeah, no, I don't use them. I don't use base rolls. What am I talking about? What?
That's someone's corpse.
No, it's not someone's corpse.
Oh,
It's my corpse. No, it's free head of me, actually.
I think it's mine. I think it's
Are you
my
sure?
corpse.
I think it's my corpse, to be honest with you.
No, I think it's my corpse.
Cool, thanks, man. I'll take the corpse. Don't worry.
I'll take it. It's all good. Yeah, you don't have an axe. No, no, you do.
I do.
It's not burning. It's not burning. It's not that hard to replace blocks, buddy. Oh my god, it's a YouTuber. I actually watch your vids, which is funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you make fire vids.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I have a question. Are you actually bald? Oh.
Oh, well, thanks for the head, man. Sorry, I don't answer questions. Bye.
Bye. Can Can I chase you?
No, you can't. Bye.
Alright. Can I go through the portal at least?
Sure.
There's one up here.
You'll be at 0-0 with me.
Oh, bet. Isn't there a portal usually at 0-0?
Yeah, there is. But I'm not going there. I'm going somewhere else. I gotta get glowstone. You shouldn't follow me. That
For what?
wouldn't be fun.
What do you need glowstone for?
For repeaters. Redstone repeaters.
Oh.
Duh.
I don't think. Do you even use glowstone for that?
Yeah. You know, it's really good for the environment and stuff, you know.
I don't think you use repeaters. I think repeaters are from.
All right, bro.
Ports. Oh, there's a portal here.
All right. Holy shit. Wherever that guy was. What's up, Ben? How are you, Ben?
Yo!
How you been, Ben? How you been? How you been, bro?
Why you running, Andres? Why you running? Why you running? Scared? Yo.
No, this guy's gonna be weird. Please don't be weird. All right. Bry, hi Bry. I'm good at play a little hoplite. Just Civ and always lose a DM. Got a job finally, so we're let's go, Ben. Wait, Ben, do you know Wick and what's his name? No, Victor plays, Dan Jeff plays, Pippi plays. Like they all play. You know about that? Everyone's been playing, bro. Everyone's playing the server. Yeah, he also plays. He plays a lot though. Bro plays so much. Making a chance if I get one diamond up here. Yeah, I'm kind of streaming a little late for myself, so it's also why I'm like, all right, got a diamond. Yo, bro, what do you want from me, man? Why are you stalking me?
Hold up, wait. I just want to show you a magic trick. Hold up. Just look for a second. Ready?
I'm looking. Oh, you disappeared. And you had diamonds. And you had 6 diamonds on you. All right, chat. Gambling time. I love gamblers. I never quit after my first win. That's why I don't leave. That's why I leave. We take the head and run. W, whoever that was. Wait, he went trapper kit. The fuck? That's fine. We gambled. We can still make enchants. We'll have 2 extra. Okay. I just gotta go down now, though. I don't think he knows I stream. Rip. I should have given my stream name. Unlucky, though. It's fine. Okay. I just gotta go. I keep hot micing, bro. My B button is my hot mic. It's annoying. Alright, I just muted sounds so it's better. Okay. Do that. This. Wait, how many wins do you have then, Ben? Or have you not been playing a lot? Apple right there. I'll take that. You have 0 wins, bro. Just keep playing. Keep playing. You got this, Ben. I believe in you. You're like top tier PvPer, bro. Actually, technique maybe 1, but I was dead in deathmatch. Oh, I see. Let me just drag this over here. All right, cool. I gotta stream back in the mornings, bro. I was doing so good streaming in the mornings, and then I just like switched over to like, well, today was an excuse, right? Because today I had to stream in the morning. I had to stream this late. I had a family over. I was killing it in the mornings though, and I just streamed them. It's over. It's fine. We're chilling. Need obby. So if you guys dig under here, by the way, it's guaranteed to always have at least one. In case you guys didn't know. Minecraft tips with Qndres, you're welcome. I threw my golden nuggets out. I need that. It has to be big like that, though. It can't be, like, small. Can I find more diamonds and make, like, Pro 3 boots? Why is there only 40 players left? I'm scared. What's up, Mr. T-Bones? I barely play HOPLITE. I only play on weekends. Solo on civs. Oh, shit. Okay. It's fine. Just lock in. Just lock in, bro. Just lock in. You should get your first win. What's up, Sheer Force? Iron was stolen in the balls. I mean, technically. Kind of right about that. Do I just go up with anything I have? Make diamond boots, prop 1. Like, I technically have a sharp 1 diamond right now. Should I make enchants? What did I just MLG, by the way? Qndres put in a word for them to add duos or 3s. I have. I've asked if they can make 4s. Or I've asked opinions on 4s, but then... I don't know. It's just a whole big thing, and it's whatever. I mean, you know. I would make it 4s for Civ, only because... I don't know. I feel like 4-4-1 is, like, better than 3-3-3. Like... I would, like, let's just say there's a new player, like, right? Like a literally new player, does not know how to play Civ. Right? He never played UBT in his life. And he gets paired up with, like, a crazy person, you know? Like, actually insane nuts guy. Like, that's just, like, it makes him want to play again. And there's a guy right here, and he's naked. He's getting apples. We Gamba. I'm Gamba with the head. Please make a fire aspect book. Like, why don't I get that, like, in games where I want to rush something else? Qndres Bablu owns you. Get this guy out of here. Get him out of here. Yeah, like that guy, exactly. Like, imagine this guy is, like, watching, like, you know... I don't know, like a streamer, and he logs into a HOPLITE and he plays his first game and he gets his first game win, right? It's like 8 people just carried that one guy to his first win. It's crazy. I don't know. That's just me, though. Obviously, there's like ups and downs of it. Also, there's a water bucket there and I just didn't pick it up. Someone just said Bablu owns me, chat. I'm scared. Bam. 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 I don't have lapis. I probably should have just made boots. Fuck. Oh, he had... Oh, shit. How many cobble can I make with this? Oh, no. That's fine. I'll go back down right now. I'm just getting enchants. Sub age? You're probably like a 12-month sub. A year sub, no? Maybe more? We'll make strength first right there. Speed right there. Have I made my lights yet? I just didn't. Okay. Should I make? I need to get lapis, bro. Fuck. Yeah, it's fine. Fine, it's fine. I can find out if you want. You have been subbed for 15 months. 15 months. 15 months. I got you. I got you. All right. Now I see lapis. I'll come back up. Yeah. Hi, Granudos. Hey. Hi. Bro, my leg just want to fucking sleep. Again. Ow. Low-key, I kind of want to do... Actually, I can't really talk about it. Never mind. I was about to low-key spoil. I ain't gonna talk about it, though. Can I just get some lapis? Preferably just one lapis, and I'll get the fuck out of your cave. You guys think I found lapis fast? What are you doing in... basically, there's an update soon, a next patch update. And I know everything that's gonna be in it. But I won't tell you guys. Okay. Lapis right there, and I'll get the fuck out of your cave. 2. Nice. Trust me, make splash pots? Nah. This armor sucks anyway, let's be honest. Alright. No, but to be fair, Granudos, I've heard that the pots, splash pots, are the same as drinkables, as what I heard from people that have been making them splash. Which is kind of busted, if you ask me. Kind of busted, no? No, it's not the same. Ow, dude, my fucking leg just went to sleep again, bro. I gotta find out a new way to, like, sit on my chair. I like how I can actually... whatever. It's whatever. I gotta stop talking about it. Just clear comms. Bam. 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 Alright. I have my dogs. This way. It is this way. Let me just drop this first person I see. Oh, we're getting sideways now. Watch the lava, dogs. Watch the lava. Wait, what if it's like here at the village? They seem to be just running straight this way. I see the person. Why did bro think like I didn't see him? He was acting like I wasn't gonna be next to him. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Okay. What was bro cooking down here? Where's that bundle? I can make oh shit. So much gold. Thank you, dogs. Appreciate it. W kill. Let me go up now. Was there someone coming in to clean? I think there was someone trying to come in to clean. Do you have Oculus? I do not have an Oculus. I do not. I do not. All right. I can make all my healing still. There we go. All right, all I need now is just 2 diamonds. I can make ender bow. Because what else do I need for ender bow? 2 diamonds and a clock. Okay, so I need redstone. I can find this person. Let's go straight this way. Could have ran 0-0. I think I see him. His boots. I need that. I have a sharp 3 pretty much. Yeah, 32. Bro's cooking him. 16. Where you going from? Hello. What? You're on half a heart. What? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Hi.
What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about, man? Come here. Can someone clip that? Bro, I'm dead ass crying because of that. Oh, fuck. I was like, all right, what do you want, bro? This guy's strapping, isn't he? Oh, wow. All right. He said, not mine. All right, so he's trapping though. Okay, so he knows what he's doing. There's a KB2. He's trapping though. That's for sure. Get a G head on me. Where's the trap at? Okay, just cobble myself. I see what people be cobwebbing themselves with. What? Oh, chasing him the whole game. I'm faster than him, right? By a little bit. There's books in him. Why does he have so many books in him? Quick charge. Sharp 3 book. I see why he doesn't want to die anymore. Okay. It all makes sense now. Okay. What's that? Is that? Yeah, it's the other book that I just threw out. Redstone, though. I read some in my backpack. Never mind. I'm chipping. I'm chilling. I have gold. I can make another G head. And then I can just make... Yeah, P boxes. Hopefully I can get more diamonds. Not a P boxes. Just a casual game. Can I make it yet? Do I have any diamonds left over? No. Okay, I can make lots of stuff actually. I need that redstone to make a clock. Then do that. Do that. And then all you need now is just diamonds. Baby, I don't want to sound righteous. I got 2. GG's though. GG's a guy. He tried it with the KB2. He tried to knock me in there. The guy had to build the bundle, so if he most likely was going for, yeah. Libertador. HOPLITE is so addicting, bro. It is. Now I see why people have been playing it like non-stop recently. Also, do I have a? I basically have a sharp 4, right? I basically have a sharp 5 because the strength is like +1 sharp. That's where I was earlier. That's where he died. Drunk. I hate fort games. True. Fort games definitely make the game like just stale. No, like it's just like no one's. There's not too many extra ultimates. Like right now, I just need 1 diamond for Enderbow, but that's like besides the point, you know. So I should probably just have it in my offhand. Yeah, this Tushiro guy. Tuso Goober. What's up, Atomics? What's up, bro? Hello. Yeah, there's... Yeah, stuff to spawn. No diamonds. Hey, Bub, when are you playing together? Never. I hate you. Kidding. Hi, Djo. Never, though. I don't like you. Yo, that's crazy. Whatever, DJ. Just hit me up. When I'm not streaming, I'm fucking just playing Civ, literally. I'm being dead ass. Like if I remember not streaming, I'm just playing Civ with friends. Here we are. Just let me know. Message me. Oh fuck, I'm tired. Where's everyone at? I'm 100 and I can't find anyone, and I want friends. Sorry. You have to be OG Badline to play with me. Chilling, are you? Pretty good. I'm just chilling as well. About our kisses. A game with 1 lich, 2 M's. Bro. It was a game where it was me, Boost for Squid. And there was literally a whole team with every extra ultimate. Deadass. One had Mooner, someone had Lich Staff. There was no, 3 people had Lich Staff. 2 people had crossbow. It was fucking nuts. We were just like, oh no, we just didn't want to play anymore. It was just bad. It was horrible. It was very, very bad. Oh, there's see a guy. Is he like the? Is that one guy? No. If I gifted as you win, I'm locking the fuck in. I'm locking the fuck in. Give me 1 fucking diamond. Please give me 1 fucking diamond. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Give me 1 diamond. This is fucking game over. Oh, this guy has. Job, buddy. Traded me more. Thanks for healing. Oh, I thought you stole my effects. I was just so alive. Power 4. Oh shit, I have an ender bow. Ooh. This guy has strength 2. GG! Hi, fans. Hey, fans. Boy, gifted. Let's go. Holy shit. 17 gaps, 2 G heads, dude. Thank you, Sanum. Thank you, Sanum. Thank you, Sanum.
Peso Zanum has gifted 5 subs.
Thank you, Sanum. I won Victory Royale. What the fuck happened to the lava? Dude, that clip was funny as hell, though. Thanks for the gifted. Hi, Abby. You're sub now, Abby W. Thank you, Sanum. Yo, Sanum, done with nothing? Thoughts? Fans, you fucking smell like shit. Hey, fans, how are you, fans? Oh, hey, fans. God, I fucking hate this fans guy. Oh, shit, what's up, fans?
This is a bad one. It's okay.
How are you today, Mr. Qndres?
Andres.
Yeah.
Turn on your mic, buddy.
Yes.
Yo.
What's up, man? What's up, Extra Story? 2K.
I was the guy from before, and I showed you that cool magic trick. Did you like it?
No, man, you disappeared. I don't know where you went, bro.
I know. It was like so cool. I disappeared right in front of your eyes. You did not even see me.
Andre, why did you kill me? I just wanted to talk.
This is.
Well, I didn't kill, dude. That was my dogs, bro.
What's going on,
Alright.
What's up, Easy?
Did you like the 4
Eki,
diamonds?
it's not even.
that I
Why
gave
do you say easy?
ESYSE.
You got it. First.
Yo, hold up. Can you accept my friend request real quick? Or no?
Yo, who is clapping, bro?
Not me.
Yo, the first one to look backwards gets a good friends. Yeah. Yo, Simon says jump once.
How are you?
Let's translate God.
Guys, jump once. Guys, jump once. Jump once.
All right, now everyone shift. All right, you guys are horrible at this game. Come on now, bro.
Bruh, come here.
I'm still shifting.
Jump 5 times. 1, 2. That's like I'm famous or something, huh? Andres, you said my name wrong. Andres, you suck at this game. Hey, I'm only making this game more fun. Like, what is that chest? Someone's getting that. Yeah, pick a priority. Yay, pick a priority. Yay, pick a priority. I love to see Andres winning. I am winning. I'm eating. I'm definitely eating. I want to stream early tomorrow, though, because I've been streaming like mad late. Tomorrow, I'm streaming at 6 a.m. Mark my words, chat. Mark my words. I'm streaming early tomorrow. Never say what again. I'll do an early stream tomorrow. I'm eating. Sorry. Is that cringe? Anyways, I didn't think it was cringe. Bet. Thanks. Thanks, Hobo. Can you please change your name to Hobo? Thanks. This is a mining game. I have to wait 2 weeks? Well, looks like you're waiting 2 weeks. By the way, it's my last game. I'm streaming early tomorrow. I wanted just to do... I'm just keeping up my daily streams, chat. I'm just keeping up my daily streams. I'll be at live tomorrow, okay? Hobo Drace. I would not be chasing my name to Hobo Drace. Just FYI, okay, chat? So don't miss me. I'll be live tomorrow morning. I see a witch. If I get poisoned, I'm gonna cry. Hello? 14-second poison is crazy. If I can get, I'll go another later if I can get like another water bucket, but yeah. Don't worry, Jocelyn. Tomorrow will be a better stream because I'm streaming earlier than today. That means more Europeans can watch my streams. W. Right now, everyone's like just sleeping. I'm not live right now. Normal time. Lurk Civ bet. You're addicted. I like to see it though. I like seeing people addicted to Hoplite. Makes me smile. Somewhat of the UHC community is back. Hell yeah. I'm having sleep. Exactly. Jocelyn, if you go to sleep now, I'll probably be streaming tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or I'll be streaming hours from now. Like a couple hours from now. Oh, now I see why people make the axe. Okay. I might be. Now you are definitely addicted to Granudos. Down, down, down. I swear if this is a bashing him, I'm gonna cry. Why not 24 ship? No, because no. WG. Oh, like why do I get to spawn when I? Like G fucking G, buddy. Like why? Why do I get to go to spawn and I just don't go nether this game? Oh, I want to cry, bro. I deadass want to cry. Of course, it's a game where I just like, ugh, I'm sad. Dude, I want to fucking cry now. Is there no chest in the bastion or something? Bro, I'm actually pissed, bro. No way I'm this unlucky, bro. The time where I just don't want to go nether and I want to just wait for later, I just don't get it. I wonder if these guys know where the backup gold is. They fucking do? Sort of. I forgot where this one's at. Dude, they fucking looted this completely. Holy shit. Wow. This lava is so weird. I'm still here, buddy. Okay. There's diamonds, like... Okay. What's good, bro? Yeah, hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Okay, just don't talk. This game is, dude, that's so annoying. Bro, 7 at sorry. Yeah, I don't know how to stop that. Low key. I might just turn off the ads, low key. I don't even know why I have ads on. Wait, why am I trying to go up? I just need leather. That's why. Oh, I have books. Wait, what? I have a diamond sword now. Diamond sword enchant to spare. And find a good cave then. Oh my god, this actually could be a good little rush for me. About damn time. Oh, we haven't done one of these rushes in a while. I can actually watch Loki after this too. Yeah. There we go. Prot. Ooh, I'll sacrifice that piece, low key. Okay. Are you part on Twitch? Fuck no. Dude, I'm doing this terribly. I should be live. Okay, so pretty much every time I go live, like before, you know, everyone goes live, like I'm good. Like, you know, I'm like partnering average, boom, like, you know, I'm chilling. But the moment I stream, like anytime before that or after that, it's just like raps, you know what I mean? Like it's just GG, G fucking G. Like I can't, I don't know. It's just GG's. Because everyone and their mom's streaming right now. When I stream my time, no one's streaming. I also have like a lot of EU viewers as well. So it's annoying that it's like that, but I mean, it's just raps, you know? It's just GG's. GG, go next, some say. Yeah. It's all good. That's why I want to just end stream now and then just go live later. Like when I normally go live. Yeah, exactly. I'm West Coast. Yeah. Yep. 8 hours ahead of me. Exactly. So when I stream at 5 to 6 p.m. a.m. my time, it's like they're just coming out of school, you know what I mean? Or like they're just, yeah, they're just coming out of school. It's smart, very smart. Yeah. So it's like it's demotivating when I like go live this time, but I was doing like a streak. I don't want to like miss another day of streaming. That's why I'm streaming every day. But tomorrow I'll stream early. It's all good though. It's all good. It's all good. It definitely kills the mental though, of like, you know, but it's whatever. It's whatever. Thanks, bro. Thanks, Hobo. Thanks, Hobo. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe it's not true. Maybe I don't average partner, but I'm pretty sure I do. Like, this is like disgusting time zone. Because everyone, I mean, yeah, everyone during that time is like just trying to play Civ or something and just watching me. I am going to need time zone. Stop. I'll be live like at 6 a.m. PST tomorrow. I'm up now. Let's see. Let's see what we can rock with here. I can get a kill. 2 kills. Okay, we'll see. Bro's a serial killer warrior. I hate you, Pex. Pex, Peep hasn't even started yet. How am I gonna get kills? You know what? Nah, Pex, just wait. Just wait, Paxil. Little Paxiel. Oh boy, oh boy. Just you wait. $8 gold. Like, look at that. Like, this guy just dropped to me. G fucking G. That's 1 kill, by the way. Okay. Bro's about to drop a 1. Fuck you, Apaxial. Fuck you. Fuck you. Just wait, bro. I'm on the come up, bro. I'm on the come up. Watch, just watch. Nah, bro's typing emojis. Bro's definitely on his phone. You know what's crazy? Being on your phone and watching me. That's insane. Gonna pack a guy. You're gonna come up to the next line. Fuck you. You're only coming up on the next lobby, bruh. G fucking G. Nah, you're wild, Paxio. Why are you on your phone? Is my question. Huh? Why are you on your phone? Didn't know what I'm doing. Long time. Mama, you know. No, it's 1-1, buddy. It's 1-1. I just haven't updated it. I'm only playing 3 games today. I want to go live later today, or like, you know, tomorrow morning, I guess. No, love's not.
Okay, thank you.
Oh shit.
Wait, do you have 1 lapis?
I guess.
Andres, fuck you.
It's Qndres. Oh, I'm not repaired. Relax. I'm not emotionally and physically, mentally stable. I'm running. Oh, try to not. Bots? That's 3 gun pots.
I did a new bot.
I'm trying to live.
You looted my loot, so I might have to chase you here to border.
Wait, I'll give you stuff. I'll give you stuff. Don't worry.
You have to drop it now. 3, 2,
bro,
1.
Let me open my inventory. Let me open my inventory, bro.
Well,
Relax.
I can't let you go now because now it looks like cheating. Wait, so what were you guys trading earlier, huh? I heard that, bro.
What?
What were we talking to
He
you?
gave me diamond boots, but he had extra.
Oh! So it's like a team kind of thing now, huh? What is this, Civ?
Friendly.
Oh, friendly what?
I don't even know. I told him to stop posting, so he's like, and he didn't. And he did, so he's my homie then.
Yeah.
He like stop chasing me off.
I'm sorry, but I've got to kill you now because you got my loot.
I'll drop all of it.
Nah. I can't let you live now because now I have moderators watching my stream, and if I let you go, we're both getting banned, buddy.
Oh.
Yeah. So now I gotta, like, you know.
Okay, wait. Make it look convincing though. Just like
No, I
hit
can't.
you once and you're scared. Cause like, look, you're on 28. Like I'll turn around, hit you.
Nah. Wait, what if you turn around now? I kill you now.
Wait. Whoa.
I don't know how I got that kill. Okay, diamonds on him. Holy shit! I'm full diamond. What? Wait, clear comms? I'm actually like... See that guy in front of me, but... Okay. I have all this loot with a sharp... Hi, Mika. Yeah, Mika. By the way, this is my last game because I'm going to stream tomorrow morning. This isn't my times of streaming. Well, how are you, Mika? Hello. Yep, Santa was here. Santa was here. Santa gifted 5 and dipped. Oh, you're still here? Oh, W. I thought you dipped. My fault. Jesus, I'm full diamond. Someone's Dragon Katana. Bug 83YA. A full P1 diamond. Did I not see an IGN just going through that portal? Bro, where's everyone at? I'm so close to 0-0. I hear the Alex Destroyer.
Who is this full diamond guy that is pulling up on me? His name is Qndres, and he is coming at me rapidly. But I am gonna shoot him back. Bye.
No, you're not shooting me. I can't. I just got up to you.
Ready? Watch this. Oh, never mind. Don't watch this. Just.
Ow!
Yeah, punch you, baby. Oh wait, hold up. Wee.
You say we?
Yeah, we. Yeah, well, we. Bye. No!
Sorry. So many apples. Holy shit. What the fuck is that bow? Okay. Wait, why am I throwing a redstone? I need that. That's a gamba. Fucking bunny. $24 gold. 42 gold. Like, okay. Region and an Insta 2. Okay. Bum, 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 bum.
Hey man, okay. Hey,
Sorry,
I'm not gonna win this anyways, so yeah, you go.
I feel so fucking bad now killing you, bro. What? I'm so sorry. Okay, I feel like a jackass killing him now. I feel horrible. Hi, we Chocomilk. How are you? I'm fucking hot miking. There's a full down with the katana right there. And he has that too. I see. One second, let me focus up real quick. This guy just died to the katana user. Blow this guy back. Okay. And 13 subs from 300 again. Bro.
You're wasting your time, bro.
What do you mean?
You'll see.
Oh, you wasted your time addressing me, you'll see. Actual urge. What the? Okay. I guess he's right. I could craft right. It can be more crazy stacked. Yo, Machine, what's up? Thanks for follow. Appreciate it. Okay, so I can make crazy shit now. Oh, W song. Yep. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time going after me. You're wasting your time. It's not what good for me. Well, you have fun, man. Bye. Bye. I have no levels, that's why. Fuck. Okay, well, I'm not. I need to see that for later. Bro's definitely like down here somewhere or over here. Okay, back to 0-0, I guess. Fuck. At least, yeah, true. At least it's not a C pickle. You're right. Good W gambling then. Damn, if I can pick up a regular sharp 2 down from the floor, I can make a sharp 4. Oh, look at that. That's what I need right there. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I need you, bro. Made a full 360 turn as soon as he saw me. 139. Gotta drop him. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Use 1 dash. Boost me, please. No, not him.
Well, that didn't really help. Thanks for the healing.
Ooh, thanks for the boost. Okay. Great, great, great. I want to make Pro 2 armor, but I don't have anything. Like, I don't have any lapis to pick up. School is school. Lovely. Wait, this guy's... I need this guy's shit. We get some 30. No, 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 no. I need your stuff. I need your stuff. Boost me. Yes, boost me. Boost me. Boost me. Boost me. You come this way just to run. GG, buddy. I'm going for this guy. If I don't kill this guy, he's gonna get the purpose cannon. Yo, Rack, what's up, bro? Sorry for killing you, but I feel like, dude. Just purpose cannon back up. Bro. This is so annoying. Kill him. Kill his ass. Kill his ass. G. Yo, Demex, thanks for the raid, bro. Yo, Demex, how are you, bro? I was literally about to end my stream, bro. Oh my, that's so annoying. Yeah, I don't know. That's so garbage, bro. Yo, Demex, thanks for the raid, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, everyone go follow Demixels. I was literally about to end stream after this game. So, yo, thanks for the raid again, bro. Wait, Demixels. Did I spell it right? I did. Thanks, Demixels, ready. Appreciate you, buddy. Oh, it's so annoying, bro. Like, that guy just does not know how to play the game, bro. Why would he jump me when there's everyone around? Like, that's just like zero IQ thinking. What was the guy's name? I already forgot his name. Like, what? So he suicide died for me, losing that whole game just for himself, just to kill me. I don't know. I don't understand his like thought process of that. I'll get this tomorrow morning. Like, oh my god, bro. Like, why are people so like dumb? I don't understand it. I really don't understand. Like, what? Oki panicked. He's tossed this whole game just to clean me. I want to find out what his IGN was. Do you know his IGN? I want to message him. I genuinely am curious what he was thinking. Like, what his like thought process of that game was. Of tossing his whole game just to kill me. I'm actually curious. No, not epic hits. No, he cleaned me, but like that guy, the guy with the art, what the fuck? I forgot his name. Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Sec. Curious what he was. A3Y? Yeah, that's his name. Why did you throw your game? Clueless mindset. Is he my friend or something? Nope, it's not no one that I know. I don't know. Bro just tossed his whole game just to kill me, though. Like, what? He said, don't chase me. It's not worth it. But yeah, he jumps in a 1v1 beat, thinking he's gonna win, and he loses. Holy shit. Like, I don't understand these players. I don't think they think before, like, I don't understand. It's whatever. GG's, though. I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching the stream, chat. Thanks for the raid once again. Appreciate you, Demixels. Love you, buddy. I am gonna go, though. I was planning on leaving. I'm gonna rate Conexion because he's live right now. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching, chat. Bye now. I'll be live tomorrow, like in literally 12 hours from now, probably, most likely. All right.